We are. Hey, do you happen to have headphones, dude?
I don't. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, engineer will just have to suffer. So where you at, Lincoln? You're at home.
Yeah, I'm at home. Got home.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice little background pick there.
The first dog.
Might have to bring that up later.
Go for it. Dogs are fair game.
Absolutely. Okay, so unlike my last podcast with the rabbi, which was pretty interesting, I mean, I had enough questions there to ask him for like, I got to switch this damn thing. Hold on. Hello, that's better. You still hear me? Okay, good.
Yep.
Unlike the last podcast I had with the rabbi, I was completely prepared. I had like 15 very deep questions written out, and he just like, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh, okay, we're done. I thought it was going to be like an hour and a half, and it's like 30 minutes. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I love to see what you have to say about it. It's, I ask him about Jewish, like I've heard many different interpretations of the Jewish afterlife or what they believe or this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on that? And he's like, well, I think a lot of Christian, why are you interested in that? And I said, well, I'm just curious because it's kind of a central tenet of what I believe. And so I think a lot of Christians, what do you say? I think a lot of Christians ask that question because they're insecure about their own belief system. Like, whoa.
And we're off.
Yeah, he's a pretty candid dude. I go, why has religion become so tribal? He goes, because we fucked it up. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah,
here we go.
Yeah, good stuff. I hope it gets people uneasy because then it means it worked. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That reminds me that Jim Gaffigan has a line. He's like, I like everyone to feel comfortable at my shows. That's why I'd like to talk to you all about Jesus.
I love that guy. He's hilarious. All right. So I'm just winging this, dude. I mean, I have a couple questions, so we'll just have a fun conversation. So you want to emphasize Brother's Keeper. You're a founder of that, right? So you want to talk about that a little bit? Okay.
If there's a way to bring it in, that'd be
awesome. Of course there is. All right. Okay, I have three tough questions. Actually, they're pretty. Don't be afraid. Okay, Chad, here we go. It's 3, 2, 1. This is my friend Jeff Kanger. And by the way, if we screw up, we can just say Chad, edit, and then it magically gets cleaned up. So this will not be on video. We're just using this to record your voice.
Audio.
Yeah, mine will be awesome because I have this cool mic here. How am I going to intro this? Every once in a while, you get to experience. I'm going to try that again. 3, 2, 1. Life brings you many rewards. And one of the rewards I have in many years of business is having worked with the young man that we're having on today. Although he's not young anymore, I do remember him when he was 19 or 20. But my friend Jeff Kanger is joining us today. Jeff, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Sam. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having you on. The reason I asked Jeff on the podcast today is because Jeff is comes from a long line of very successful brothers. One of his brothers was retired as the chief of the Omaha Fire Department. Another brother is deputy chief, right, of the Omaha Police Department. And our friend Jeff at age 35, is that right? Are you age 35?
Let's go with 35, 36.
36. Our friend Jeff at age 36 is risen, well, I believe, very quickly to be president of First State Bank, Nebraska, which is a pretty lofty responsibility. They just don't hand that out. So I wanted to visit with Jeff a little bit today about how in the heck did he rise so fast and some of the lessons that he learned along the way. and maybe can, I think it'll be inspiration to some of my younger viewers, since we're trying to get some younger listeners, not viewers, listeners. No one's watching this. Younger listeners inspired in their career path. So, as president of the First State Bank of Nebraska, what are your duties? What does that mean? I mean, it's more than the title. I know you're a millennial and all, but that's an important title. What does that mean? What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. Well, people joke that they just hand out titles in banking like candy. So go general.
Well, I don't think they hand out president, my friend. I don't think they hand out that one.
No, so what is a day-to-day? Just some quick background on our shop. We're $880 million asset bank with 150 employees throughout Southeast Nebraska, about 60% agriculture, 20% commercial, and then 20% consumer. And our current ownership group's only about 20 years old. And so, to your question, how does that happen? I got presented with opportunity in a progressive, open-minded ownership group. After I worked with you, Sam, took the LSAT, went to law school down in Lincoln.
I forgot that until you sent me your resume. Honestly, yeah. I forgot that you went to law school. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So it was kind of fate. I got tied into them with a classmate, and they were hiring for summer interns. And the same day the bank offered me the job, the Douglas County attorney up in Omaha offered me a job. I just happened to accept the bank deal first. But, I know you'll probably get to unpackaging some of the details later, but the short of it is this was a group of Nebraska-based business people that wanted to grow a community bank, and they were hiring up as they were growing. So when I started, we were about 250 million in assets. In the last decade, we've grown to just under $1 billion. And how have we done that? Our boss, our chairman, Tom Damkroger, shares the growth. He gives people an opportunity to become owners, set their own schedule. And the thing he did with me that mattered most in terms of success is he asked me, what's important to you? And he tried to blend his vision for the company with what my goals were. And he's done that throughout the business over the last, 20 years and the 12 years that I've been there. So I think that's a huge piece of success. He had his vision, but he also tried to align it with what his employees were saying their personal visions were as well. And that was huge for me.
Well, what is important to Jeff Kanger?
Yeah. So first and foremost, giving back. And we'll get to what that looks like later. But
sure.
You mentioned my family. I don't come from like a blue blood pedigree. We come from a blue collar, work hard pedigree. And so when Tom asked me what was important, I said, ownership. I want to have skin in the game. I want to have a piece of what I'm pulling the sled on. And thank God that just aligned with his vision. He's a guy that shares the pie. And he always says, I'd rather have a smaller piece of a bigger pie than the whole pie for myself. And yeah, I love that.
I always said that there's always plenty of pieces for pie for everybody. And because the pie will get bigger, I 100% subscribe to that.
Yep.
What are some of the principles that you come from a strong Catholic faith, and I know that your faith is very important to you. What are some of the principles from that faith that you apply to your business life?
Sure, lots, but I think the most on point is the dignity of work. Work is a blessing. Work is a gift. Treat it that way. You're not entitled or given anything. We are fortunate to have the ability to work. And so I view that as a blessing. And the way in which you do that is the way you give thanks for that blessing. Jobs are different. I get it. It's a free market. We're all called to different things. But John Paul II was a big believer in the dignity of work. And I feel that slipping away this day and age. We want more and more while putting out less and less. And I think that concept is self-defeating over time and leads to some of the anger and frustrations we have. So, really not getting into the social aspect or the moral aspects of the faith. I just think being raised in that family, the dignity of work was something. And then my parents, both of them, were working all the time, whether it was my mom's small business or my dad in his trucking background. They were always working. They had 5 kids. We ate a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, I love your answer. I love your attitude. How has the the workforce has changed since you and I first, worked professionally together, which I guess goes back, I don't know, 15 years.
Just after the turn of the century.
Yeah. It's true. Um, so the workforce I mean, you're a millennial, right? You're in the millennial class. And I actually, before I retired, took classes on how to manage millennials, because you all are a different lot. Things are important to you. And big surprise, folks, there are plenty of millennials that think like Jeff does, in the sense of they want to work. They want to, a lot of millennials, actually, one of their biggest problems is that they want to give back too fast. Their expectations are so high, so quick, that they were raised in a background that rewards came quicker than reality. But there's tons of millennials out there that they're very hardworking, but they have to be managed differently. The expectations are different. As a millennial, I assume you manage other millennials, and you manage old people like me. And yeah, but tell me about your management style for different types of people.
This isn't because you had me on, but I've emulated a lot of the ways you managed me, whether that was through condition or natural. But and what does that mean to somebody listening to this? You were always straight and honest, whether it was positive reinforcement or negative criticism. That and it was also, from a millennial standpoint, to your question, Sam, it was frequent feedback. Now, that was work environment. We're 15 feet away, but in a text messaging generation, it was very quick for me to know if I was hot or cold in terms of your expectations. And then you also didn't sugarcoat it. When it was great, it was great. When it needed work, it needed work. And I don't think that principle has been lost. Things probably need to be softened up a bit more than when I was working with you, but constant feedback was really important. And I've tried to model and emulate that. And I think that was a key thing. And that's something I use at the bank today. If I always tell the folks I'm working with, if you're not getting engagement from me, I'm probably pissed. And I need time to cool down. And I'm working through that myself, but
Sure.
People want constant feedback. And I think active managers need to provide that.
Okay. You said something interesting there that, and I agree with you that how you manage things probably need to be softened up from the way I manage. Give me an example of maybe something that I would have done as a manager 15 years ago that you don't do just because you can, or because things have changed.
Okay, I'll give you a story that has 2 angles on this. One, when I started working with you, you would come to the shop in shorts. I don't know if you remember this. And your
probably
wife
Hawaii shirts too.
and your wife Heather was working there. And I said, "Hey, is that all right to come in shorts?" And she said, "Yeah, no problem."
Oh no.
So the next day I show up in shorts, and my ass no sooner hits the chair, and I'm in your office, and you go, "Dude, we got congressmen walking in. What are you wearing shorts for?"
Well, maybe I should have shared the schedule for the day, huh?
Yeah. And my point is your directness. Today I probably couldn't get away with that. I'd have to find some other way of easing into it, or I'd probably let it go 3 or 4 times before I addressed it. So that would be one thing that's changed in this workplace. But the second angle I was going to take on that story is, if you recall, I didn't argue with you about it. I didn't give you like, "Oh, well, Heather said." I said, "Okay, thanks."
Didn't make excuses. Yeah.
And so to me, that might be the other thing that's changed in the workplace.
Yeah.
I would say this day and age, I very likely,
You'd have to
millennial Jeff would have
negotiate.
said, "Well, Heather told me I could wear shorts, and you're wearing
Sure. Well, I mean,
shorts. So
honestly, that's fair, and I wasn't a very good leader for doing that, obviously.
no, it's
Um,
your
uh,
shop.
well, I don't know. I mean, I certainly should have. Um, it's pretty hypocritical on my part. So I think that's probably, you can call a spade a spade. But on the other hand, um, there is something about sometimes just accepting things that, and see, and you said I was just. I'm not so sure I was just having that conversation with you. That's a funny story, my friend. I don't remember it, but I'm sure. I mean, I started laughing when you were started going down that road because, like, oh, here we go, here we go. But yeah, well, that's good. Maybe maybe you would manage it differently because you didn't. That's not the way you want. Ultimately, you wanted to be. You'd treat people differently because you're on the short end of that stick. But it is very true. You never made any excuses ever. And I like people like that. I just, let's get the job done and let's get it done right. And let's do it with integrity and and we can play later. But gosh, that makes me want to go back into management again because I didn't do a very good job on that one.
No, but I would offer it worked out just fine because it was a thoughtful story to me because you were direct. Hey, not what I want. You didn't yell, didn't chew my ad, didn't say what the heck were you doing. You made it clear. I didn't fight back. It's a fun story, and we moved on. Had we entered into an exchange, then it would have been a thing, and we would have lost 2 hours. And like
Right, to be
I view it as a very
negotiating, you'd
positive
be
experience. Yeah,
yeah, negotiating the dress code for 3 hours. Well,
yeah.
thank you
Come
for not
on,
doing. Yeah,
let's get back to work.
yeah, yeah. Awesome, great story. So you have almost $1 billion of assets. You're responsible to manage other people's money. Does that weigh heavily on you? I mean, that's a pretty big responsibility.
It does. The thing that weighs heavier on me, being straight with you, are the 150 people I work with to manage that money. If I'm taking care of those people, they will also then take care of your money. And
Mm-hmm.
so the burden I feel is on the 150 souls, families, and individuals that also have a responsibility to our customer and communities. And so if I sometimes I get caught in the trap. If I focus on the money, I lose sight of the people. And that's where I've gotten burned in the business. If I stay on the people, they help take care of the money and we're just fine.
Well, so what percentage of your day is spent working with other people? All of it?
80. I do have a loan portfolio, about 20 million, and I manage a couple loan departments and some core customers, but 80% of my day is working with other members of the team or external business relationships.
Yeah. And so you have, I'm sorry, you said earlier, you have how many branches right now? I mean, you've got employees in how many different locations? 5?
17.
17. Good
Yep.
grief. Maybe it used to be 5. 17 locations. So that's hard to do. I mean, when I was a manager in Nevada on a presidential campaign, I had employees in like 5 or 6 different locations around Las Vegas. And that was challenging. That was before the days of Zoom.
Yep.
And I was always, I always tried to be on the ground with them at some point or another, if not during the day, at least during the week. So how do you do that? Do you use, obviously since the pandemic, Zoom seems to be a good management tool, but do you go on the road and talk to folks in person, or how do you do that? I mean, that's a big task. 17 different locations. You've got employees, so there are gonna be times where you don't see a certain employee face to face for probably months,
Yep.
right? Or I don't know. I don't want to put words in
You're
your mouth, but
absolutely right.
so how is that as a challenge, and how do you get through it?
Pre-COVID, so in 2019, I did 20,000 miles on my car getting to our branches.
Yeah.
And so in person, and I've learned Zoom I would maybe challenge you a little bit on a good management tool. It
Well,
was
it's
a
a temporary
resource.
management
Yeah,
tool.
it was a resource to get us through the environment we were in. But I'm noticing now engagement plummets on meetings, sidebar text messages are out of control. The power to mute or turn off a mic or text or email on the side, engagement really plummets in terms of a quality meeting. And
Yeah,
so side note, fewer, better meetings is just a life philosophy of mine.
I like
Not
it.
big on meetings. So have fewer of them, but make them higher quality. But one thing in our business that am learning, as you highlighted earlier, I'm from Omaha. I'm literally born in the largest city of any employee in our bank. What the heck do I know about Philly, Nebraska? Because I went to school, I have a degree, I think I understand. No, I
Well,
have got to be in that community to just listen. And part of my management leadership style, I'm learning as I get older, is less mouth, more ear, and
yep.
then reflect and make decisions from there. So those miles weren't just, keeping staff engaged and cheerleading. A lot of it was just listening so I understand our market. Because we're doing a small business loan on Main Street of a town of 150 folks. We're also involved in $100 million commercial project in Omaha. That's quite the bookend for our shop. And I like to be
However, both
comfortable.
projects are equally as important. I mean,
You bet. You
uh,
bet.
and
And it's
so
easy. So if I'm just focused on the money, why am I talking about that Main Street business loan, right? It goes back to people in that
that's right.
community, in that Main Street. So
That's
that's
right.
why I make a big point of getting out of the bank, um, and getting into branches, not to deliver a message, but to receive.
Gotcha. Good listener, good manager. So I'm curious, I've talked to other friends of mine that I talked to a friend in Dallas. He's in a big ad agency, and they haven't been back to work in 2 years, and he sincerely doubts that they ever will. A lot of their folks, younger folks live out on the suburbs. They don't want to drive to downtown, so
Mhm.
they're used to this thing. And so I asked him. I said, "Have you?" I think it was him. Have you hired anyone? How does that work because you have to hire someone since the pandemic? Have you hired? I guess what I'm getting to, Jeff Kanger, is have you hired anybody that you haven't met face to face yet? Have you been put in that situation?
No, we've maybe done a first or second round on Zoom, but nobody without an in-person meeting at some point.
Yeah, yeah. Old school like me. There's something about sizing somebody up in person.
Mhm.
There's just something there. And unfortunately, most people sizing up of me is not very good on the first impression. But I,
You're
I,
persistent. You're
I
persistent.
yeah, I don't have to worry about it anymore. But oh man, what's the biggest? What do you think the biggest challenge is? I mean, forget COVID, forget all this stuff, and let's just talk about now. It could be it could be have to do with the financial part of your business, it could be the management part of the business. What are some of the challenges that you face um, in 2022?
I would answer that, from our side is banking. There's not a lot of sex appeal in that industry. Folks go to Amazon or Spreetail, or I mean, you name it. There's a lot of trendy, even fintech names where people want to work, and they look at banking and view that as a very traditional kind of stagnant industry. So I think we have industry perception headwinds. Um, and that might sound like a strange thing. Ultimately, what I'm getting at is talent recruitment, right? It's about people and high quality people. Whether you have a biology background, political science, business, or agribusiness, what I love about banking is there's a home for all of those people in our industry in various forms, but there's a home for them.
What makes it
Uh,
easier for you to hire if the pools that you're able to go to a wider pool that way,
it
right?
is, but the perception in that pool is, why would I ever look at a bank? I'm not an accountant, right? I mean, that generally the analysis stops really quick there, and we are fighting that all the time. We're getting a lot better at it, but and I was one of them. I had a political science and then a law degree. Why was I working at a bank? But then I saw all the business avenues and the way a growing bank gives back to the community. And it was very attractive for me. But I think our big challenge, rather than just saying people, is letting the market know a growing community bank could be a place for them, regardless of their, professional or academic background.
How have you used your law degree, or have you used your law degree in what you do?
I use it all the time. I don't practice. I'm not licensed, never wanted to be. I went to law school for the policy and the formal education of it. I use it every day because law school doesn't really teach you stuff. It teaches you a different way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And applying that to problems in the bank is where I use most of it. The other things, I studied mediation, arbitration, negotiate. Those are great classes. Some of the more practical classes of law school, bringing
Absolutely.
that into the bank, we use it all the time. Yeah, I can read a statute. Yeah, I can read a bill. I can generally apply it. But if I wanted to do that all day, I would have gone into practice. But I use the different way of thinking that law school formed in me every day in banking, in the analysis and the problem solving I do.
Awesome. I know. So this for a minute, let's talk about kind of get off the bank. Giving back to the community is a big passion of yours. And one of the things that you've done is that you're the founder and chairperson for a 501c3 called Brothers Keeper. And the mission is to assist Christians in the Middle East. Yep. Tell my listeners about your passion for that, how it came about, and what you do.
Sure. I go back to a moment of silence, which happens rarely in this world. But if you roll the clock back, ISIS was expanding in the Middle East, through Syria, through Iraq. There were persecutions all over the place. And one day I remember opening up the Wall Street Journal and I was drinking my coffee. And Sam, I didn't have Netflix on. I wasn't streaming anything on YouTube. There was no music on the phone. Like, the house was just in silence. And I remember looking at this picture, and it was a picture of a Christian man crying, looking right into the camera. And I remember thinking, God, what are we doing about this? And when I say we, I meant Congress or the US government or everybody else.
Somebody else.
Yeah. And what I was really saying is, what are they doing about it? And it was literally a 5-10 second deal. And then I turned the page and I immediately in my mind hear, what are you doing about it? And it kind of hit me. And I thought, well, I'm reading about it. I'm educating myself. That's something. And it just nagged on me. And so,
way to be an egghead, buddy.
Short,
educate yourself. Sit around and educate yourself about it.
I read about
no action yet.
I went to a coffee shop with my friends and chatted. And so, long story short, I just start firing off emails to Christian groups in the Middle East. I sent about a dozen. Nothing happened. I thought, okay, well, nothing there. And then suddenly, one of the groups I contacted was in the United Kingdom, got me in touch with a nun from Jerusalem, who got me in touch with the priest in the Gaza Strip. And he runs a small parish there. Of the 2 million people in Gaza, there's 1,000 Christians, 100 Catholics, just rough math. And this priest is like, who are you? What do you want? I was like, hey, I'm Jeff. I have a degree in political science and a law degree, which means I have no tangible skills. And I'd like to come over and help in the Middle East. And at first he said no. And then after, I would come to find out, after working with the Israeli government, the church in Jerusalem, Hamas, and the Palestinian Authority, I was given a permit to enter and exit the Gaza Strip. And so it was in that experience, going over there, seeing the poverty, seeing the Christian community. Nobody ever asked me for anything, Sam, in that trip. Nobody asked for money. It was nothing. But I saw the need and I thought I need to do something to kind of help this group going forward. And so we started Brothers Keeper. And so we fund jobs and scholarships for the Christian community in the Gaza Strip. But my first night in Gaza, you'll appreciate this, we're driving around. So go back to 2016, and we go down this street, and this guy's shimmying up this light pole, and he drops this black flag. Well, it was the black flag of ISIS, and I'm about a block away from him. And your viewers can't see me, but I'm a heavy-set, balding, middle-aged white guy, so I stick out.
Oh, you're not that heavy set, just because I gave him a little grief. Listeners hadn't seen him for a while and told him he gained a little weight. You're looking good. You look good.
Thank you. So I look over, and here's this guy waving the ISIS flag right in my face, and I'm thinking, what the hell have I gotten into? And I looked at Father Mario, and I was like, is that ISIS? And he said, don't worry about it. I said, what do you mean, don't worry about it? Keep in mind,
be not afraid.
I know. I'd known Father Mario, my best friend in Gaza, for 6 hours. And he, I go, how can you say no problem? And he said, I met with them. I told them you were coming, and they said we wouldn't have any problems. And I go, and you believe them? He said, what choice do we have, Jeff? Let's keep moving.
Yeah.
And so I caution everyone, careful what you hear in a moment of silence. You don't know where it's going to take you.
No kidding. Wow. So if people wanted to learn more about Brothers Keeper, do you have a website, a Facebook page? Oh, you don't do social media, but how would they learn more about Brothers Keeper?
Yeah, we got a sweet video. We just wrapped up. It's a 12-minute documentary on our shop. Brothers Keeper Mideast.com is our website. brotherskeepermideast.com.
Nice. And so there'd be a way to maybe financially support the organization and get some more information about it.
Yeah, man.
Watch the vid.
Parish talks, take the video, circulate it, share our story. One of the cool things about us, we're 100% volunteer based. So every stinking penny that gets put in the pot goes straight over to Gaza. Volunteers helping on the website, the video, you name it, everybody's chipping in, which is a cool piece of our project.
It really is. It really is. I'm very proud of you, my friend. Very proud of you.
Thanks, man.
Well, it's been kind of serious here, Jeff. I want to give you another opportunity to take a whack at the old boss here. Do you have any other war stories from working for yours truly that you'd like to share with our listeners? You can go ahead and crack me in the head if you want.
Oh, your listeners will love this one.
I'm sure they will.
We know the same Sam.
The power of editing.
Well, first week on the job, hey Sam, this is fun. It's going well. What do I need to do to be successful here? And you just remember one thing. What's that? You go, me boss, you not.
I did not say that.
You did. Yes.
Oh my Lord.
Did
I go through the little MB thing?
Yep.
MB, I used to say that instead of ND, MB. I have an MB in my shirt. Me boss.
Me boss. That's exactly right.
Nice. Well, hopefully you incorporate that today with all your employees. I'm sure that works very well.
Hasn't carried through as much as others, but that I don't know what you read, but it was a good fit, and your style was a good fit for me. So I do thank you for it.
Yeah. Well, it's very rewarding to be an old man now and see somebody, because I think I first knew you actually in 2006. So you were how old in 2006? 19? I don't know.
Yeah,
20,
21.
20. Okay. Yeah. And so to see you, in the last 15 years, just do really great things. It's very rewarding. I mean, not that I had anything to do with it, but you give me hope. You give me hope, because someday somebody from your generation is going to have to take care of me in the nursing home. And so I'm hoping there's somebody out there like you that will do that, because I don't have any kids, and God almighty, it's a big ask. Because I'm not going to lie to you, buddy. When I'm 80, I'm going to be an ornery son of a bitch. I'm telling you right now.
You already are ornery.
I know. It's going to be brutal. All right. Well, to wrap it up, I've got 5 little this season. I've been doing rapid fire questions with my guests. It's just a fun little thing that we do, and it's interesting what people come up with. So are you ready for rapid fire?
Let's roll.
Don't think too long. Don't be an egghead. You have to say what comes to your mind. And these are all rated G, by the way.
Yeah.
Favorite ice cream?
Chocolate.
Favorite cowboy?
John Wayne.
Far and away the favorite dish. Everybody just thinks of John Wayne immediately. It's awesome.
I said John Wayne, but my second thought was Eastwood. So
no one has said Ronald Reagan. I can't believe no one has said Ronald Reagan, but he's not really. He's a cowboy.
Not a real
not
cowboy.
Really. Yeah, right. All right. Favorite egghead?
Oh. Putin.
I wonder if he is an egghead. I don't know what he is. I think he's a maniacal, benevolent leader.
I'm
but
putting in an egghead, not favorite, but most
yeah.
popular right now.
Well, there are eggheads out there that are good. They don't have to be evil. But okay. Your favorite dog you ever had?
The one right behind me, Sky.
What's his name? Sky. And I think you had Sky when you worked for me, right?
Oh yeah, you bet.
I remember Sky. Okay. And Sky's no longer with us, right?
Nope.
All right. He's a good-looking dog. Okay. Favorite movie?
What Dreams May Come.
I don't think I've seen it, Jeff. What
It's
Dreams?
a thinker.
Okay. I'll check it out. And then last but not least, my friend who's a copywriter, who will be on this season, sends me really good. He listens to the show, and so sometimes he'll send me questions, and he's got some really good ones. And this is the only one. Talked to a rabbi earlier today, and which will be upcoming this season as well. But this is sort of like the only one that stumped the rabbi. So here we go. So you're a Ukrainian, and you've got 10 minutes to leave your home. What are the 5 things you're going to take?
Children, spouse, pet, checkbook,
A good banker would.
and passport.
There you go. Excellent.
There you
Jeff
go.
Kanger,
Thanks, man.
so much. Thanks for being on. It is a real pleasure.
Appreciate it.